We're here with one of the nicest
That's it.
MCs in the game, Hackensack, New Jersey. Crime Apple's in the building. You know, fuck with
Yep,
Crime
yep.
3, available on all platforms. Have people mass quicks like Fauci.
Yes, sir.
Welcome to Sports Hip Hop with DJ Mad Max, Light 265, iHeartRadio. Crime Apple, how's it going? How's your night going? How you enjoying the release of the new album?
I'm moving, man. I'm actually in no position to do an interview. I just landed from Colombia today. I fly to California tomorrow, and I haven't been able to get that slice of pizza I need when I'm home. So, but I'm
Now,
here.
what
I'm
slice
here
of
though.
pizza is this? Is this the Crime Apple pizza? Because I did hear that you were working on a pizza.
Nah, yeah, that came out. Crime Apple Pizza came out. It was like an event that lasted a few days to go along with a project that came out with it. Only if you get the pizza.
Oh man, I missed out on that. Are you planning on doing another run back with the pizzas later on?
Maybe. I mean, I think I'd rather do something else. You know what I'm saying? Something different. I always like to switch it up. So we'll see what happens.
The beer, I know you got that on the way. You have
Yep, the
all these
beer, exactly.
innovations.
So I would want to do something different, like a wine or, you know what I'm saying, other things.
Champagne. You're on the champagne tip now.
Heavy on the champagne and wine for sure.
Yeah, but this album blew me away as soon as I turned into it. It's crazy because I'm a big bars guy when it comes to hip hop, so I respect what you're doing out here and putting on for the
Thank you,
underground.
thank
And
you, thank you.
I understand the grind that you go through because it's all politics nowadays. And I've even done my research to the point where your brother's in the industry and he's called it basically a hedge fund with these record labels.
Yeah, 100%, exactly. So I mean, it's like crazy because um, I've never really, I don't get any favors. You know what I'm saying? It's all out the mud. So it's work. It's hard work. It's a real occupation. You know what I'm saying? If you 10 toes down, you make it work.
And it's been working for you. Now, when we look at
Appreciate
it, what would you say is the most important thing for an artist such as yourself that you need when you don't have the major label deal? Because you got to go through this route now as being independent and build up the audience. So, what do you do as far as a team? Because you got to have a management somehow, or some people are their own managers. But what do you have to have that's so vital in order to build success as an independent artist?
I mean, I would say for me, everyone's different. So, but for me, I think I would say that it has to be like, you got to have the audience. Without the audience, then there's no point. You know what I'm saying? I see rappers or whatever artists all the time that it's like, I don't really, they'll have like management and they'll have whatever else, just that, right? Just management. You have a manager, but there's no like, exceptional demand for what you're doing. You know what I'm saying? So I think it starts with the audience. You have to connect with the people first. That's first and foremost. Um, and then from there, independent is just, you gotta it's definitely about being organized and, having focus and, a strategy to how you're gonna do things. You know what I'm saying? Because as an artist, we tend to focus on the art and that kind of should be our focus, really. But someone like me, I like to do as much as my job as I can myself. You know what I mean? Because I'm more than capable, right? I mean, this is like making music and selling music and doing everything. That's my occupation. So it's not like I, work at Best Buy from 9 to 5. So it does take up some time doing music, but I also do have a lot of free time. So why wouldn't I book my own shows or manage myself and make sure people get any merchandise they're getting? But you just got to be, in order to do it like that, you got to be organized for sure, and you got to have a to-do list or whatever you can do to just keep shit on track.
Mhm. What would you say was the regular job? Because I heard you've worked everything, moving furniture, the substitute teacher job. You've been everywhere. You
Facts.
had an accountant job. The accountant job was really important because that's when you checked your bank account and realized that you were making money off rap, and you didn't quit the job. You just didn't go back.
Yeah, I didn't even nah. That was like I hated that job. You know what I'm saying? They had me in the you know what I'm saying, in khakis and the tie and shit. That wasn't me. But at the time that I had taken the job, I needed it. You know what I'm saying? Like things was just going left. Just other opportunity, other things that I was doing, just wasn't really working out, and people was getting jammed up. So I needed to get me like a real 9 to 5, and so I just, when you have to, you got to do what you got to do. Um, But yeah, nah, as soon as I seen I had more money in the bank from rapping, I was like, "Ah, peace." I never even came back. I was like, "I'm not feeling good." I left.
I love the substitute teacher story though, how you were handing out 20s to the kids because you gave everyone the same exam.
Facts. Yeah, I never went back. I got high on my lunch break and made like a stupid mistake. And I grew up a son of an educator. My mom's a teacher,
That's right.
and I even myself, I definitely got a lot from getting educated. I respect it as a trade. So yeah, I could never do that again because I was like, man, you can't, like, the kids is the most important thing. You know what I mean? So yeah, I never went back to that either.
I think you have some influence there with your mother being such an educator, and you always were a writer, a creative, of course, in learning my history about you. So, in what form did kind of hip hop start for you in a way early on? Was it through poetry? Were you writing stories? What was it as far as the writing and what form it began for you?
I think all those things definitely, played a part. I think the start of it really though, I remember being young and just listening to things that I liked or that my older brothers was listening to. And it started as simple as me just like taking like my favorite like songs or a piece of my favorite songs and kind of just changing the lyrics a little bit and then just like spitting at school and seeing how the girls would react. And that's kind of what made me actually want to like write. And I was young. I don't even know, like 7, 8 years old doing that and just seeing how people react and shit and what my brothers was into. And then everything else kind of just, unfolded naturally.
Mhm. You grew up in a musical household. I heard that your brothers were all into hip hop, and your sister put you on to the Doors and the Rolling Stones.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I mean, great musical taste in the household. No musical talent in the household. So, but great taste though, for sure. My family has great taste in music, and it's always been super, super diverse. So I'm grateful for that.
Looking back on it, as your family introduced you to music, how they feel about you being so successful at what you do now?
Good. I mean, I think like the with my siblings, like they think it's the coolest thing ever. You know what I'm saying? And that they could tell their kids. You know what I'm saying? My nieces and nephews what I do. Like they all think it's the coolest thing ever. I know my parents, you know, just don't get it the same way because they never listened to hip hop. Um, but the biggest thing is knowing, I was like treacherous in my adolescence. So the biggest thing that I can take from it is that I know my parents are happy and kind of like relieved. They don't have to worry, like, they don't really worry about me no more. So that's number one.
Mhm. Especially now that you've been able to, it's being independent, being successful. There's nothing like it, and that's important that you've been able to do that. And congratulations on that. But
Thank you, my G.
when we look back on it, you went to Rutgers. So were you going for any sort of major career here as far as writing there?
You know what? I mean, I went to Monmouth University, I went to Bergen Community College, and I went to Rutgers. I was all over the place. I changed my major in college. I want to say about like 6 times. It's crazy. Like, right?
Yeah.
I was gonna do like what initially it was communications, and I wanted to like work at a record label and be an A&R. I wanted to like find talent and develop it. And I started just paying attention and seeing that that's not how it was even working anymore. You know what I'm saying? There's even in now, it's really not like that. There's no artist development no more. Um, so then I switched over a couple times. I just at that point, it's like I couldn't really figure out what I wanted to do, and I was just frivolously changing my major. Um, but everything. In the end, I was like a history major, but I just never finished. You know what I'm saying? Like I really switched my mind that I was gonna make music for better or worse, and I took the leap of faith. And I never even. I did the same thing I did with the accounting job. I was like, I'm not going back. Who knows? One day, one day.
Yeah, no, you never know. You may want to go back. You change over time. I did want to do the follow up to all with all the jobs that you had. Was there one that you had early on before rap that you would say came close to you, helping you out and learning the music industry? What was the closest job that you had to it, as far as the business side of things?
As far as the business side of things, shit, what job did I have that prepped me for the music business? I mean, I can't, honestly, I can't really put my finger on it. I don't think there's anything that could prepare me for what came with, you know, working as an independent artist, to be honest. Everything was like a little, maybe pieces of each one, but there's no one job that could even prepare me for this. You know what I mean?
Mhm. It all came together though, as we have Crime Apple. You got the name, slang term, mixing stuff up in the juicer, watching this documentary, the guy that juiced.
Yep, yep. I felt fat, sick, and nearly dead. Crazy movie.
Yeah.
Had me juicing for like 2 years.
Wow. And that's how we got Crime Apple right there. It's been so marketable for you all the way up to the point now you made a career for yourself. But Statik Selektah, that's when you made history on the airways on his radio show. But even before the radio show came up, you were able to go to one of his go to a release party back in the day, and he actually got to see your video.
Yeah, that's a fact. Someone who we knew that we weren't, so I really didn't know the person that well, but I guess they had like heard my music and wanted to try to make a connection. I'm sure to also probably try to like benefit off of it some way. But we did go to a release party, and Static was gracious enough to watch a video on an iPhone, which wasn't, I would never do that. But this person was like, "Yo, check this out," and he actually sat in the middle of a release party on the couch and like watched the video,
Wow.
which was dope. We just never really followed up. It was so long ago. We didn't really know how to maneuver and deal with those kind of situations.
Which video was this? Do you know which one he saw?
It wasn't a Crime Apple video.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, yeah, it's pre. It wasn't even Crime Apple, so it's
Mhm. Did
doesn't even exist.
you DM'd him? You get up on the radio show, 10 minutes.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
think
I
you
thought
rapped
that.
over the realist. Was it Cool G rap and Mob Deep for the realist?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
and murdered that. It changed your
Yeah,
life
nah,
from
shout out
there.
to Static. Shout out to Static for the opportunity for sure. Always.
Mhm. As soon as you stepped off that elevator, that's when you knew that okay, that this is it. My life has changed. What was the next big move for you from there, from that point?
You know what? It was funny. I thought, I knew that that's what had happened. Um, but it took a little longer than I thought. I had to actually do the work. You know what I'm saying? It kind of was like, kind of went back to square one because the moment I had gotten off the elevator, I had, a couple text messages from Static like, "Yo, you got to pull up. If anyone hits you up, hit me first. I want to," he wanted to to be in the driver's seat of whatever was about to happen, or so it would seem. And then, eventually these people get busy and stuff like that, and you know, the way we consume stuff, like eventually the freestyle is old now and it's been up for however many weeks. So the ball was kind of back in my court. But I was able to, I guess capture, whatever attention I had gotten off the freestyle in time before it faded and dropped my first EP with my homie Buck Dudley. And then from there, that's kind of just what got me right because I just got into the habit of, releasing projects and releasing merch. And so it really just, the ball was back in my court. It was up to me. So I don't know if there was any like huge moments, you know what I mean? Because there's definitely huge moments, but like, after like the first huge moment, um, the momentum was kind of like came to a screeching halt and the responsibility fell solely on me to keep it going.
And you did. You eventually were able to find your way. But that freestyle, it really, when you look back on it and the history of it, it's gonna rank up there with the Big L, Stretch and Bobbito freestyles, the old Clue freestyle, Funk Flex freestyles from back in the day. That's how great it was because it was 10 minutes straight, nothing, no breaks, just you off the top. And I haven't seen that. I've never
Now, I
seen.
mean, to 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 explain, I mean, it's really like 10 minutes, right? It was 10 minutes, but that's because I was probably waiting to do that for 10 years. You know what I mean? So that, yeah, for sure. I mean, I was waiting for a moment like that for a hot minute. You know.
Mhm. You had to go get love outside of New Jersey, but I know you, even though you're from New Jersey, Hackensack, we know already, you don't like to claim them because they don't claim you. You had to go outside to get the love. Do you feel as though that the landscape in Jersey has changed for artists since then?
Look, here's the thing about it. It's like, I remember being like kind of misinterpreted one of the last times I spoke about Jersey in an interview. To be clear, it's not about not liking to claim them or something like that. You know what I mean? It's just that I choose not to, because I couldn't even tell you what the scene is like in Jersey for an artist. Because for me, it was like relatively no scene coming up. You know, whatever things that I did encounter, like it just wasn't it to me. It was kind of corny. That being said, very like happy to be from Jersey. Um, and I could live anywhere in the world. I still live in Jersey. I could literally go anywhere. So I just, for anyone from Jersey that's listening, I love Jersey for sure. I love Jersey. But yeah, in terms of, not claiming it, it's just a choice because I just don't feel like, it's like it could be like a label, and it's like, oh, it's Jersey rapper. It's like, nah, I'm a citizen of the globe. You know what I'm saying? I tour the world literally, and my fans are all over the place. I'm sure that there's like a chart for like the states that bump my music. Jersey's not even in the top 10.
And maybe Nebraska. I did hear that you had to go out and get some love in Nebraska.
I mean, I had to go out really one of the, I get a lot of love in the West because I remember that's when it really hit me. I went out West, and the love that I was getting out there was crazy. Even just from like the first couple shows, seeing the difference in the crowd on the East Coast to the West Coast. Um, but I think that's also been a pivotal part of my journey is, not being afraid to move around. Because I remember early on, I was making moves and traveling without any like, real secure reason to go places. It was kind of just rolling the dice, like, yo, I'm gonna go see if I can get it cracking. So um yeah, I think that's more of what it is. It's not about not liking to claim, Jersey. It's not even about that. I just feel like I'm a worldly artist, so I don't even want to be labeled, from like a state. It's just don't even make sense.
Yeah, no, I get it, especially me being from Connecticut, because I went out to school in New York. I had to make myself known out there and then help put Connecticut back on here. But I totally understand it from your perspective side of things. But when we look at Jersey, they have a rich hip hop history. When we look at
A
Queen
hundred percent,
Latifah,
a
Naughty by
hundred percent.
Nature, Redman, they have, and you're right in that lane with them.
I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's like anything. It's like I just don't want to be like I don't want to be like, oh, he's one of the best Latino rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like the same way a dope artist could be coming from California, and they might not get put in the conversation. You know what I'm saying? Unless it's like Tupac or Snoop or something like, oh, that's one of the illest rappers from Cali. I didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't want none of those labels. I'm not trying to be the best Colombian rapper or the best rapper from Jersey. I'm just trying to do me.
Mhm. And that's how you should move. And I've actually had this conversation because of course you represent the Latinos. When we look at it, I've had conversations with Bodega Bam's upcoming artist Jomi, of course, and I brought up Big Pun and Fat Joe and what they did for the Latinos in rap, and they explained to me how they feel as though that they made great strides. They didn't break down the barrier for Latinos in hip hop. How do you feel about that? And what's it going to take for that barrier to be broken?
I mean, I don't know that the barrier. Yeah, I don't. It's hard. It's hard to say because I definitely hold them in a special place growing up because those are people like that definitely showed a lot of Latino artists that it could be done, hip hop artists. Um, so I couldn't discount their contributions to say that it didn't at least chip away at the barrier
Yeah.
somewhat. I think they did a lot. I think they did a lot. Even at the time, I remember this. It was like when they were popping. different camps and rappers were trying to have like the Spanish jingle sounding beat. You know what I'm saying? So I mean, what they did can't be understated whatsoever. And in terms of barriers, I mean, I try not to think. They may or may not exist. I just don't. They don't exist in my mind. You know what I mean? I don't even think about it because when you think about something like that, you lend credence to it. So I just try to operate, and again, just like it's just crime apple. It's not about anything else.
You're breaking you in your own way. You're breaking it down the doors for Crime Apple. That's how you're doing it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I mean, exactly. I just my goal is to wake up every day and just try to be a better me. And I think it's important as as a human to figure out how you could be of service to humanity. And I'm fortunate enough to have figured out what it is that I'm supposed to do to serve people. So as long as I'm doing that every day, I'm not necessarily gonna get hung up on any types of just bullshit in the music business, or barriers based on ethnicity and race. Is That's like not even in the back of my head.
Mhm. I know you're close with the Griselda guys. You're cool with them. Everyone's saying Griselda brought real hip hop back. We know it, but we got people such as yourself. Even though you're cool with them, Benny's got the Def Jam deal. We saw what happened with Shady Records and Rock Nation and all that. I know it's never been your goal to get a deal, but if the right deal came along, would you consider signing it? Or you, because you're doing so well on your own, I don't think you need to. But if the right deal came along, if it made sense, would you take the major deal?
Oh, yeah, I mean 1,000%. It's all about it's all about me knowing what I have. So if some type of company was offering me something that I didn't have, with a set of terms that I felt were fair, I would 100% do it. It would just have to be the right fit. It would have to be very unique.
I think that deal will come along. It's gonna, because you see that the barriers are being broken as far as the lyrical hip hop side of things, and I'm hoping that your brother's seeing some tides turning here because I think lyrical rap is back. It's just got to keep cracking into that mainstream. And I did want to bring this up because you always say that you're the number one guy in the underground for the ladies. Now, what makes it attractive when you're an underground artist to bring ladies, to get that lady audience to the underground hip hop? Because when we look at it, the ladies like all the trap and whatever's mainstream. So how can we get them involved in listening to the real hip hop, the lyrical hip hop?
Put me on the song. Book me at the door. Honestly, I just and there's a couple dudes and shit. There's definitely a couple artists that I've been to their shows, and pretty good ratio. But for the most part, again, it's like such a sausage fest, sadly. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, that's another thing too, though, is like a lot of dudes in the underground, either don't talk to the ladies at all, or they're just not saying anything to make them want to listen to the music or come to the shows. You know,
Yeah. No,
so
sometimes when I hear it, because they just don't like it when you're a DJ and you play for them, or you just see the audience isn't there. But you're changing, you're breaking down that mold too.
no, I think so. I think so. 'Cause I just always try to make it a point to. I think it's because I just touch on every aspect of life. I'm not just giving you one person. I'm talking about one type of thing. Um, what I just try to talk about every part of life, and ladies are a big part of life. Whether it's ladies or one lady, whatever it is, wherever I'm at, I try to touch on what's going on in real time. Everything, what I'm saying, is as people know, my shit is humorous, introspective. I tell you things about my past. I tell you things about my present. I foreshadow into the future. But yeah, I think it's just more because I actually, talk to them. I might not do it on every song, but I do talk to the ladies.
Yeah. And that's how it used to be back in the day. When you look at Big L and some of the records, he's still not a player from Pun. I mean, if you look at it.
Yeah, not for sure though, for sure. Nah, I think it was more of a thing back in the day.
Yeah, and you're bringing it back. How are you as far as the critique when we look at the personal critique of it? Because you're real analytical when it comes to your music, to the point where you stayed in Jersey for a month and decided not to travel because you were so heavy reliance on, I want to make sure that this sounds right and that I like it. So how were you when it came to you don't fuck with Crime Apple 3?
I mean, there's been times where I haven't been critical. There's kind of times where every shot's hitting. Um, and when that's kind of happening, unfortunately, I've probably been a little less critical of myself than I should have been, because then eventually one of those shots bounces off the backboard. Thankfully I haven't shot any air balls yet, but I don't know. I kind of just know. I kind of just know when it's time to like fine tune something and get it right. But yeah, I am. I'm definitely my biggest critic. It doesn't matter who's telling me something's hot. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't really care. Like, if I gotta get it right, I gotta get it right. It could be the biggest producer telling me they love it and not to do that. I'm like, nah, chill. Or at least, they're gonna have to tell me like 100 times and get a whole council to agree with them, and then maybe I'll listen. But I am very critical for sure.
Mhm. Out of all your other projects, what made you want to choose to go with part three for this one that you just released?
Just because it just the album itself kind of just felt like that. I wasn't sure that that's what it was when I started the album, but then once the songs were coming together, it felt like that's what that was. It just reminded me of part one and two, but also just felt like it was a level up from both of them. And yeah, people just, my my audience seemed to really embrace one and two. So I just felt like the right time to close out the trilogy.
Mhm. And you did. EP that I appreciate that you did in the past is Sweet Dreams, because I'm a horror movie fan. And are you a horror movie guy too? Because you paid homage
Yeah,
to Freddie
absolutely.
on
When I
that.
was young, for sure. I don't really see that many that I enjoy. They just seem a little corny to me now as an adult, but as a child, I used to love that. That was like every weekend I was watching something.
Freddy Krueger. They even had the Robert Englund reference on there, track number 5.
Yep, yep.
I don't think anyone could play Freddy. I think they made the new one, the remake, but I don't think it worked.
Yeah, no, that's exactly. I know that's it. That's Robert England.
Yeah, exactly. If you were to give a top 5 list of horror movies, what's in your top 5?
Top five.
Mhm.
It's hard, man. List or so, because then you'll do the list, and then a day later you'll think about something you should have put on the list. I put Halloween.
Mm.
Um, Halloween, Nightmare on Elm Street, Poltergeist, Hereditary,
Ooh, it's a new one.
Midsummer.
You like those cult movies, Ari Aster cult movies?
I fuck with those.
Yeah.
I definitely fuck with those. Those are like two of my favorites from present day for sure.
I think what makes them so good and attractive is that they're unique. They're not the whole cliche. They're not a remake. I can't stand remakes. I don't know why we got to
Yeah, exactly.
remake
Yeah, they
everything.
always fuck it up.
Yeah, you're never gonna get better than the original. Please.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, but I appreciate that you're a horror fan, and you're just you're being true to yourself in your music. That's you.
No, it's important. Yeah, for sure. It's important because what better source material? You know what I mean? That's the best source material there is.
Exactly. Have you thought about expanding on Sweet Dreams and going into more horrorcore, like with Isham and the Gravediggers?
Nah, not necessarily. I mean, and I mean, I personally wouldn't even like, you know, um, consider Sweet Dreams anything in the vicinity of horrorcore. I even as a huge fan of the Gravediggers, I think it was more like the presentation of the project
Mm.
and when it came out. You know what I mean? That came out like on Halloween when it came out. The actual content, though, I don't know if I would put it in the same group as those guys. But that being said, yeah, there's, who knows? I mean, I do like to add on to things that I've done in the past when the time is right. So I could do a sweeter dreams one day.
It's got to happen. And
Who
even
knows?
maybe even connect with Cool Keith for like a Doctor Octagon type of vibe.
Shit, nah, shout out to Cool Keith. That would be very dope.
That would be pioneers in the genre right there. And speaking of horrorcore, even more with your connection with DJ Muggs, because he's with Soul Assassins, that has that horrorcore vibe with Puppet Master, with Dr. Dre back in the day.
For sure, for sure. Shout out to Muggs. Yeah, Muggs. We got some joints. We got 3 albums out.
Yeah.
I would have never thought.
And you guys linked up in LA. You were out at Alchemist spot recording, and
Yeah, I
You were
was
able
about
to,
to not even go. I thought it was just a regular radio interview, and it was just tough because I had a flight. So, in order to do the interview on the radio, it would have meant, getting a new plane ticket, just everything, just changing your whole itinerary. And, like, all due respect, but if this was like a situation where I had to be in the studio with you and I had to like change my flights and everything in order to do it, I might not have done it. You know what
yeah.
I mean? Which I was about to do in LA. I was about to just hit him and be like, "Yo, I'll catch you next time." But I didn't, and as soon as we linked, that was kind of it. We just got into it right away.
The 8 tracks right there. He
Yep.
tell you any crazy Cypress Hill stories from back in the day?
A couple. It's a couple. I can't think of anything that stands out. And probably not and if there is, probably not the kind of thing I could share.
Yeah.
I was very fortunate enough to be privy to certain things that I've heard, but I never put anyone else's stuff out there.
Mhm. As far as the next step here, what's next? Because you got the album out, fuck with CRIMEAPPLE 3. This is the end of the trilogy. What's next for you on the way here? Because I know you're always working.
I'm always working, and that's yeah. I don't, and I'm always working. I'm finishing up the tour right now. I'm finishing up the tour this week. I really have like a week off, and then I get out to Texas, do a couple shows out there. Um, what else? We're doing Japan for the first time this summer. Obviously more music, more music, more fly gear, you know, and everything else. Who knows? I can only see around the curve in the dark road. I don't know what lies too further ahead.
You got to go back out to Paris. This is where you were at a restaurant and people came up with your vinyls.
Yeah, for sure. I've been to Paris a couple of times. It's always surreal to be anywhere that's far away from home and people actually enjoy what you do and want to talk and get stuff signed. It's crazy.
hmm How you feeling about your Marlins this year on the sports tip? Because you're a Marlins fan, grew up in a Met household. Dad's a Yankee fan, but you're a Marlin fan.
I'm more no, I mean I'm more of a. I tell you the truth, I'm a Mets fan.
Oh, you're a Mets fan. Yeah, because I've heard in interviews that you grew up in a Met household and you had all
Yeah,
this
I grew up in
Marlin
the.
stuff
Yeah, I went
behind
to a
you.
couple games last season. I'm gonna try to get out to some this season. Schedule permitting. Um, but yeah, Marlon, I just what I like. I kind of just like more than anything. I always enjoyed like just sports in general as a kid. You know what I'm saying? I was never too fanatical about any one sport. Maybe basketball, over everything else. But I kind of just love like, just sporting apparel. Sports apparel has always just been super
Jerseys.
fly to me. So that's why I could rock a Marlins jersey or a Mets jersey. Um, yeah, I'm not too fanatical about it like that. It's more to me, it's about the apparel, and also just I love like going to see games way more than I like watching them. You know what I'm saying? I'm not one of those people who will like follow a whole season watching games on TV. It's not just not it. I don't have the time for that. But I just love sporting apparel and just being at the games. I think that's the fly shit.
I agree. And your Nets too. You're a Nets fan. You stuck with them even though they left Jersey. They're kind of on the downfall with the whole Kyrie Irving, Kevin Durant leaving, but you never
Yeah, I
know.
tried. I mean, yeah, uh, it's not a good thing. It's not a good thing. They got to figure it out, man.
Yeah, I think they will. You got a couple pieces, maybe a good draft. I think a lot of them. Well, with the draft, I think you're down for a lot of your picks from bringing in Harden.
Yeah, yeah. Nah, it's hard. Yeah, it's hard to Shout out to the Knicks though. The Knicks were doing their thing this year.
Yeah, until they crashed out. I'm a Knicks fan. They crashed down against the Heat, so it's
Yeah, we
tough.
knew that was gonna happen though. We knew that's what would happen. Sadly, we hoped it would have happened, but I kind of just felt like the writing was on the wall. It's hard. It's hard being a basketball fan on the East Coast. I feel like it's why a lot of people just rock with other teams and shit.
Mhm. I did hear in an interview you did about 2 years ago that wouldn't know if you'd be rapping in another 5 years. So do you still have that same mentality to this day? And what are some other options you do keep in your mind that would pursue if you weren't rapping? Because you're going to be a creative. You've always been a writer. So what are some other
Right.
options to keep
I mean,
on you?
it's hard to say. I just say that because I just don't know what it even looks like in 5 years, right? Um, so who's to say, I could say that I'm retiring in 5 years and be around for another 10, 15, if I'm so fortunate. But yeah, that being said, I guess the main thing for me is that I want to always be like where I'm celebrated. So if there ever comes a time where there's like a shift, I just if the people want something, I'll do my best to give it to them. Now, if there comes a point in time where it's like I'm tired of doing it, then I have to, listen to what I feel and, you know, do that. I don't think I'm tired of doing it yet, but I could see me getting tired of it. And it's not just making the music, because I could probably make music forever, but just all the other parts of it, that come with it, with the job, and, you know, um, getting out there, and so all this, it's independent, so it's less political, but there's still politics. So on the day that I get tired of dealing with all the extra shit, then I could very well do something else. What that is, I have no idea. I really don't know. I guess I'll figure it out when the time comes.
Maybe you can write a nice horror movie because you got the skills. You're a writer. Can you write something creative here? Give us a creative horror movie.
Could be, yeah. Why not? Could be possible. You know what I'm saying? I could do that. Who knows? I really couldn't call it. I think the idea is whatever it is, it has to be something that I'm happy to do. It has to be something fulfilling. Um, and it doesn't necessarily have to pay at that point. Maybe I'll retire and just learn how to play a banjo.
Something different.
You know what I'm saying? Make
Yeah.
make wine on the countryside and just chill.
And whatever. Health is wealth.
That's right. Always.
Health is wealth. You don't fuck with crime. 3 available on all platforms. Pennies. That penny record's tough.
Yes.
Sabretooth.
Shout to Loman. Shout to Loman.
Yeah, crazy, man. Congratulations on the album release, everything you've achieved from the features that you have, production, all that. You're right on the tip top, man. Opening for Rock Marcy and Cypress Hill. Much more in store on the way for you, man. Crime Apples, or any last words here that you have for your fans that we didn't mention? Anything else you want to let the audience know?
That's it. Really, the only thing I could say to anyone who's listening that supports is a huge thank you. So I'm eternally grateful for anyone who chooses to take the time and listen to music or come to a show. Time is the most valuable currency we have as humans. So I'm just so enamored and blessed that so many people have chosen to spend so much of that currency with me. So just thank you.
Yeah. Crime Apple, I want to thank you for coming on the show, man. I appreciate your time, everything
Thank you
you're
for
doing
having me. Thank you
for,
for having me.
for the real hip hop, because that's what matters most to me, the underground guys, because you guys are keeping it alive since the early 2000s. It's fallen off. The artists aren't getting the attention that they should be. We see what's going on, but it's coming back up, and it's going to take over the mainstream soon. And I look forward to you being one of the people that lead that charge, and you're doing it already. And man, you're always welcome on the show anytime.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you, man.
You
God
already
bless.
you already know, man. God bless. Enjoy the rest of your night and take care. Stay safe and safe travels too on your trips.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You already know, man. Take care.
All right then.
Yeah. Peace out.